Now, election security in general is currently not doing so great, but our next speaker, in addition to her pioneering work as founder and CEO of Girls Who Hack, is doing very impressive and interesting things to help address the flaws in the system and improve the situation for all of our sakes. Presenting the election system, can we fix it? Yes, we can. Please welcome BSI Lab.
The election system. Can we fix it? Yes, we can. Solutions to improve the U.S. election system with yours truly, BSI Lab. First off, who am I? I'm a 13-year-old girl, and 2 years ago, I was the youngest speaker at Hope, and a lot has happened since then. I spoke 3 times at DEF CON, in the Voting Village, the Roots Asylum, and the Biohacking Village. I also gave a talk on election security at DEF Camp in Romania. I am the founder and CEO of Girls Who Hack. Ta-da! Our motto is teaching girls the skills of hacking so that they can change the future. I provide physical and virtual lessons to any girl who wants to start her journey in cybersecurity. I am a maker and a hacker, and my election hacking at the Roots Asylum was highlighted on a congressional hearing on election security. Here is me with the witness panel. Going from left to right, we start off with Dr. Charles H. Romine. He is the Director of Information Technology at NIST, which stands for National Institute of Standards and Technology. Next to him is Mr. Neil Kelly, who is a Registrar of Voters at Orange County, California. Then next to him is me, and next to me is Dr. Latanya Sweeney. She is the Professor of Government and Technology in residence at Harvard University. Next to her is Mr. Paul Xerax. He is the Secretary for the Oklahoma State Election Board. Then, last but not least, is Dr. Josh Benelo. He is a senior cryptographer at Microsoft Research. And while this talk will be focused on the U.S. election system, the lessons here learned can apply to any election system worldwide. So what did the Roots Asylum do? The Roots Asylum held a mock election reporting system, and us kids got to perform SQL injection to change the results. What is SQL injection, you may ask? Here is part of my Girls Who Hack course on SQL injection. The application that talks to the database is tricked into sending the attack query. An application, in this case, a web form, asking for a username and a password. Or 1 = 1 is true. At the top, you see the code from the web page. It says SQL = select from users where name equals uname and pass equals upass. So it's requesting a username and a password so you can get in. But the attacker writes this, Alice double quote or 1 = 1 double quote, and then Alice pass double quote or 1 = 1 double quote. When she presses sign in, this gets sent to the database. Select from users where uname equals Alice or 1 = 1 and pass equals Alice pass or 1 = 1. The SQL above is valid and will return all rows from the users and pass table since or 1 = 1 is always true. The kids and I in the Roots Asylum did this attack last year and this year. You're thinking, big deal, it was rigged for kids. But Russia used the same SQL injection attack and successfully broke into a State Board of Elections website where they gained access to voter records and exfiltrated them. They were then able to pivot into the network, and who knows what happened after that. This is outlined in Volume 1 on pages 50 and 51 of the Mueller report. Now, the election system. It has a huge attack surface. Over 10,000 voting precincts, voter registration systems, voter databases, voting machines, reporting systems, and of course, election officials. As Dr. Latanya Sweeney said at the hearing on voting technology vulnerabilities, every step introduces a vulnerability. There are problems everywhere. Most states lack the resources and technical expertise. Let's face it, they're election officials, not computer security experts. They have aging equipment. Many of the voting machines that have been pawned at the DEF CON Voting Village are still in use in many districts. They have a lack of consistent funding for security. A lot of the voting security money comes in a lump sum. This fixes problems now, but not in the future. States need consistent voting security budgets. Attacks by foreign adversaries with endless time and money versus the underfunded state and local election websites, where Steve and Frank have to secure them, along with all the other sites, and help Bob print out his emails. NIST Election Security Research Team consists of 1 full-time, 4 part-time, and 4 contractors working on election security. There are more people working at a single McDonald's than there are at working for our election security. So, let's jump into some problems and solutions. This is me at the Pennsylvania Voting Machine Review. We were allowed to examine the machines all we wanted. I drove them crazy. This simple-to-pick lock covers the USB ports that contain the votes and software update port. So to start off, we're going to start off with the voter registration systems. Voter registration systems differ from state to state. Some have a standalone system, while others tie in with their Department of Motor Vehicles driver's registration system. Everyone is trying to hack these systems all the time. If you monitor an intrusion detection system, which is a machine that examines all the network traffic, you'll see constant attacks like SQL injection, cross-site scripting, and other exploits from all over the world, including Russia, China, as well as Tor exit nodes, and others. The scary thing is, get this, election officials are not required to report any detected compromises or vulnerabilities in these systems. If the election was hacked, we wouldn't know. Yikes. So how do we fix this? Well, the voter registration systems are things we know how to secure. Website and database security is something we know and have security standards and guidelines for. So let's use them. OWASP, or the Open Web Application Security Project, has tons of resources, too many to list here. The NIST Cybersecurity Framework provides a way to identify, protect, detect, and respond to any cyber attacks. OpenSCAP, which is Security Content Automation Protocol, supports automatic configuration, vulnerability patch checking, and security measurement. The SAFE Act is currently sitting in Senate. The SAFE Act requires many important things, including voter-verified paper ballots. These are important because the voter actually verifies their vote, and there's an analog paper trail. Risk-limiting audits are where the votes are counted by humans to make sure the machines are accurate. Using risk-limiting audits and voter-verified paper ballots are our best defense against election tampering. So, you've built your reporting system. Now what? Test it. First, make sure it actually works. Then have your team test it. Make sure you cover the basics like the OWASP Top 10. Then fix all the bugs. And don't waste your budget on having professionals come in just to tell you what you could have found out for yourself. Then test it with hackers. Make sure it's fully tested before bringing in an external pen testing team. They will find things you never thought of. If you are thinking that these systems out there are secure, well, let me tell you, they are not. Hackers have found SQL injection working on a state site just recently. States need to have a bug bounty, or at least a very clear channel for reporting vulnerabilities. So, you've registered to vote. What's next? Voting machines! Voting machines. You would think the US would have a thriving voting machine industry. Unfortunately, this is not true. If you want to make a voting machine, you need to make the entire system. Everything from the voter registration system, voting machine, tabulator, and reporting system. This is why 80% of the US voting machines are made by two manufacturers, ES&S and Dominion. ES&S bought Global Election Systems, which became Diebold. And get this, ES&S senior programmer and VP was convicted of computer software tampering and embezzlement. In 2004, they performed an emergency software patch in 37 swing states. These are key states that are capable of swinging the election one way or the other. Georgia and Tennessee have reported machines losing votes in predominantly African American neighborhoods, which is not right. These manufacturers keep their source code closed and will threaten lawsuits if people try to examine it. Wonder what they're hiding. The Diebold GEMS tabulator was found lowering vote counts. It's not that hard, people. Vote gets vote plus 1. Or for my C programming fans out there, vote plus plus. Many machines and tabulators have hidden back doors that allow votes to be manipulated during the election. Here you can see in red what the GEMS tabulator said the vote count is. But as you can tell by the human readable paper trail, the votes are higher. Something's fishy. Now, direct recording systems are voting machines that do not produce a human readable paper trail. These machines cannot be made secure. As was proven every year at the DEF CON voting village, the vote count can be undetectably manipulated. These types of machines are used in many countries around the world, including Brazil. Want to guess who makes those machines in Brazil? Diebold! You know what I would trust more than a direct recording system? Yeah. Now, another way to collect votes is with paper ballots. There are two types: hand-marked paper ballots and ballot marking devices. Hand-marked paper ballots is the best, most secure option. These are marked by voters themselves, then scanned with an electronic scanner or counted by hand. And ballot marking devices were originally made for handicapped voters. But with the demand for paper ballots, the voting machine manufacturers saw this as an opportunity to sell the more expensive BMDs as paper ballots. There are a few problems with these machines. If the machine flips your vote, what can they do? Was it a human error or a machine error? Some machines print out a barcode as a paper trail. So how do you know what a barcode says when you check it? Fat bar, skinny bar, fat bar, skinny bar. So overall, BMDs suck. With new machines that take up to 10 minutes to switch screens while voting. I mean, if you go to McDonald's and you go to one of their screens, when you flip the screen, it doesn't take that long. Like, catch up, people. Texas machines are unable to read RFID voter card, and that caused massive delays. Brand new ES&S machines reported 0 Democrat votes on printout, and the hand count reveals that Democrats won. This just in. DREs suck. Virginia changed to hand-marked paper ballots, and the Democrats won for the first time in 20 years since they added DRE voting machines. So, alright, let's hack a voting machine! The AccuVote is a direct recording system. Some of them have a printer so the voter can verify their vote. Some don't. In 2007, the source code was reviewed by the state of California, and they found it was susceptible to viruses that could alter the vote count. My friends over at the Hacker House were able to load their own firmware into the machine and could do this. Election fixing software Hacktoy. Rigging election. They were also able to do this. And what does every hardware hacker ask? Can you play Doom on it? Yes, yes you can. Let me ask you, where are your voting machines stored right now? How well are they secured while in cold storage? Hey Bob, where do you keep the spare traffic cones? Oh, you know, by the voting machines where I eat my lunch, but get this, they're securing it with caution tape. Nobody can get past caution tape. Bad actors can purchase these machines off the internet, reverse the software and the firmware, then install the hacked software and firmware on the machines in cold storage. While these machines may have tamper-evident seals, they're really not tamper-evident. Here is me at DEF CON 25, removing tamper-evident tape with acetone. I was then able to reapply it with no noticeable difference. So, what can we do to secure voting machines in cold storage, you may ask? Well, we can invest in more secure storage, monitored security systems and cameras, complex locks, and booby traps! Okay, maybe not the last one. Wink. Another way to help secure voting machines is to reinstall the software and firmware before the election, making sure to check software fingerprints and checksums before installing. Doing this will not only ensure the latest patched software is running, it will also wipe out any malicious code that may have been installed. So, where does my vote go next? Different election systems have different ways of delivering their final vote count. Votes are printed out in triplicate, checked and signed by poll workers. These are then phoned in and sent by car to the election office. USB sticks, by car. Is that data file encrypted? If not, it can be manipulated. Some machines report their counts by cellular data transmission. This goes over the public internet. But we all know how safe the public internet is, right? It is also worth saying that there is no established chain of custody rules for any of these delivery methods. So, how do we secure it while in transit? Well, there are many ways to secure it while in transit. We can encrypt the records while being transmitted and while at rest. We can perform risk-limiting audits to make sure that the paper ballot matches what the machine recorded. And just don't use the public internet. The machine manufacturers want you to think cellular modems are not connected to the public internet. But guess what? They are. Here is a diagram the manufacturers could learn from. That's the voting machine over there on the left, transmitting over the air with its cellular modem to the cell tower. That's connected to the public internet where my friend Rainbow Dash is taking a nap. Then the vote tabulator is also connected to the internet behind a firewall. But we all know firewalls don't stop hackers. Now, for the next step. The next step is vote count reporting systems. These, just like the voter registration systems, are standard things that we know how to secure. And again, like registration systems, we should follow industry standards and guidelines. Remember this slide? Guidelines exist, let's use them. I'm going green, I'm recycling it. Now, let's talk about humans. Let's face it, they have so many flaws. That's why I like cats better. And let's face it, all the security in the world can't protect against Bob clicking on a link he shouldn't. Spear phishing campaigns exist and have been successful against voting machine manufacturers. Using fake emails, they can direct users to fake websites that compromise their machines. As Mr. Kelly, the Registrar of Voters for Orange County, California, said at the hearing, "How well are my election officials trained not to click on links they're not supposed to?" Chances are not well enough. Sorry, Mr. Kelly. Social engineering. Election officials must be regularly trained on how not to be social engineered. Regular training is very, very important, not just during the election season. Fix the humans. States should form election working groups with local, federal, and state officials, including the Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, as well as State Cyber Command. And this knowledge shall be shared across the entire state. In the end, what is the big fix? We need to look at the election system as a very, very, very hackable security problem from the start. Security can't be something we just bolt on at the end. The election system is one big hardware and software system. So we need to train our developers and engineers. Teach them secure coding from the start. Teach them how to hack and think like a hacker so they can better code systems that are more difficult to compromise. And send them to security conferences. And hire hackers. They bring a different perspective. They think around, outside, and destroy the box. They're security-minded individuals to whom everything is a security puzzle, just waiting to be solved. Also, don't be afraid to hire hackers without certifications and kids right out of school. They will bring an excitement and desire to prove themselves. What is the best system? I made this really big so you could take a screenshot. The best system is one with hand-marked paper ballots and with risk-limiting audits. And now, announcing, Secure Open Vote, my own election system. Secure Open Vote is an open source voting system using hand-marked paper ballots. My goal is to make a complete end-to-end system. I figure I have the smartest friends. We could probably make a pretty awesome election system. I will also have the reporting system ready for DEF CON this year, so you can try and hack it yourself. And thank you for listening to my talk. If you'd like to learn more about me, Girls Who Hack, or Secure Open Vote, check out any of these sites over here. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Bye-bye!
before we start questions, did you want to make any comments or any additions to the video before we start taking questions?
There is one thing I want to mention, and that's the
You're live. Sorry, you're live now.
Okay, hi.
So go ahead and mention it.
Hi. We're glad that you're here with us to watch the video. We're here with the speaker, Bria Silab, and she just has a couple of things she wants to add to the.
That wasn't much of a countdown there.
Yeah.
Really.
Okay, so what I'd like
She
to.
had an additional minute of blank audio at the end.
Sorry. Okay, so Bria Silab, did you want to add some more things to the video?
well, my Secure Open Vote election reporting system is going to be available to hack at DEF CON this year, and whoever can change the vote count gets cool Hack 5 prizes. So I just wanted to mention that. So try and hack it, see what you can do.
All right, that sounds good. I'm still waiting for some more questions, but I want to know, is there any updates on any legal methods to try to put some transparency in electronic voting?
No.
Got it. Okay, the first question we have is, given a choice of voting in person or by mail or via mobile or electronic, which do you think is the best method for voting?
I've recently been researching voting by mail since that seems to be the hot topic with COVID going around. And honestly, if you vote in person, it's better to do voting with paper, hand-marked paper ballots. But voting by mail, it's easier because you have more time to think about it and fill in your vote. You can do it anytime. You don't have to be like, well, I can't go vote because I have to get to work or else I'm going to get fired or something like that. So you have more time to do it. So I feel like voting by mail also helps with that. So yeah.
Got it. All right, let's go on to the next question. What states seem to be doing better with electronic voting?
Honestly, since you specified electronic voting, it's better. Any state that uses paper, hand-marked paper ballots or limiting audits, I know I say this a lot about them, but it's always just better. You can't really secure anything electronic.
Understood. Thank you. The next question is, what is your opinion of mail-in voting in general? The questioner referenced to New Jersey, but what's your opinion on that?
Like I said, voting by mail, I'm still just researching it, but it's way better and it's just easier to use and more accessible to many people. So yeah.
Okay. What do you think is the best thing that can be done to restore people's trust in elections?
Mostly if people would just know that someone actually checked and they actually have proof to say, hey, everything's secure. Look, we tested our election system. We tested everything. See, here's the proof. If the public knew that we tested it and we actually cared about security and we mentioned security, then I feel like they would just trust in the election system more.
Right on. All right. Our next question is, how would you recommend I help my 6-year-old nephew and 4-year-old niece get into security and hardware? My nephew loves hacking and steals my iPhone password all the time.
Well, number one, definitely send them to conferences. Most conferences also have kids tracks. DEF CON has the Roots Asylum. Every conference usually has talks and stuff for beginners. Beginners can be pretty much any age because it's for beginners. And then I also have my Girls Who Hack and all of my courses on starting with cybersecurity.
Got it. Thank you. All right. Do you know of any other countries that are doing a good job with electronic voting?
I'm not really sure. I focus more on the US election system. I'm not really sure because every other country has like a different way of voting. So it always just depends on how it works.
Got it. Thank you. Are there any organizations trying to standardize the internationally or the US regarding voting systems?
Well, as I mentioned in my talk, the SAFE Act, I hope that passes. And honestly, there's not much that has been going on. There have been some attempts to try to secure everything, but yikes.
I understand. All right. Are there any other crazy projects that you're working on to take over the world?
I'm building a giant robot army. I'm just kidding. But recently I've been focusing more on election security, mostly because the elections are coming up. I kind of postponed working on my horse bot, which if you go to bsilab.com, I mentioned that and talk about it a bit, but mostly just going full on with elections. I'm also, for Hope, I also have my 2 Girls Who Hack classes on building a home lab and intro to web hacking. So I've been working on filming and editing those.
Oh, that's very good. Are those workshops coming up?
Actually, tomorrow at 4 o'clock here at Hope, they're coming up. And if you miss it, I'm also putting it on girlswhohack.com.
Very good. All right. Next question is, do you have any ideas for getting more people to actually go out and vote?
One thing I wish would happen is, as you probably know, the day when you have to go and vote, it's not like a holiday. Like, you have work afterwards. So more people are like, I have to get to work, the traffic's going to be bad, and just like stuff like that. So they're like, I just don't have time to vote. So I feel like if we made it a holiday, then more people would have time to be like, okay, I have time to go and vote because I don't have work and all this other stuff going on.
I agree. There are some countries that do make it a holiday. I think that's a great idea. Have you looked at Microsoft's Election Guard software?
No, not yet, but I will look it up now that you mentioned it.
Okay. Do you feel that you and other people of your age should be allowed to vote?
Well, I am only 13. I really, really wish I could vote, but I feel like since now I'm in high school, some kids my age are still in high school, middle school. They're getting into just politics in general and learning how the government works. So I feel like 18 is a good age to be able to vote, because then you finished high school, you're going into college, and you've learned how everything works, and you've had more time to let your brain develop and research some things and really get a true opinion on everything.
Right. Thank you. All right. What is your thoughts on different voting systems such as instant runoff, ranked choice, star, etc., similar systems?
I'm not really sure about those. I don't really have an opinion on any of those.
Right. Okay. Any This next question is about any suggestions or comments on the topic of gerrymandering.
Well, I don't feel like it's that right, honestly. Everyone should truly just have voting should just be accessible to everyone, and voting should be something easy to understand, very accessible. It shouldn't be something hard to get, you know?
I understand. And, you know, it's amazing watching how the parties make all these crazy lines in the neighborhoods, depending on, you know, who's which party, etc. All right. The next question is, do you think it would be a good idea to require everyone to vote?
Actually, not really. I feel like some people, they honestly just don't know who to vote for. The more votes, the better. The more people who get to vote, the more people voting, it's always just better. But honestly, it's you shouldn't force anyone to do anything they don't want to or really have to. So yeah.
Okay, thank you. It's a great question. So we've heard so much about blockchain technology. Do you know whether or not it would have a role in electronic voting, like for auditing or non-repudiation?
I feel like blockchain and voting should not mix, honestly, and I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. All right. I think that's all. Oh, wait, we've got one more. Okay. That's it for all the questions. And I want to thank you very much. Your talk was very interesting. And thank you very much for sharing it and sharing your time with us here at Hope 2020. It was very enjoyable. Thank you.
And thank you.
All right, we're going to take it off to our info beamer, and we'll be back with you in about 10 minutes. Thanks very much, everybody. Hang around.
Bye.
Excellent.